One World 3. Unfortunately, Atlanta Center is offline at this time. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change to advisories approved. Have a safe flight in Charlotte. Okay, One World 3, we're switching over to Unicum. Thanks for being here. We'll see you.
Okay,
Thanks
now I'm back.
See you next time.
Yeah, I had a momentary connection lapse there, unfortunately. It's going to make it hard to post this video on YouTube if I get around to it. I'll have to break it up into 2 parts, but oh well. Okay, so we're at Lake Wire. Got a couple of smaller lakes next to it. That looks about right. And we're going to set our heading to 168. And there's going to be another bodies of water over there in the distance. There's going to be a big airport off to our left. So I'll be looking for that. So a little bit more about Fantasy of Flight. Kermit Weeks, the founder of that museum, and he's got 2 YouTube channels. One is for Fantasy of Flight, and one is his own personal channel where he does a lot of flying. And you guys should check him out. It's really interesting if you like warbirds, and he does like in cockpit.
JetBlue 1183
in cockpit videos of his flights.
250 knots.
So it's really cool. But he was he inherited a lot of money.
Waypoint is Lava.
When
Lima
he was
Alpha,
growing up.
Mike Alpha.
And he really put it to good use. Like, you know, he liked aviation, and then he founded this. He was a stunt pilot for a while, and then he founded.
Cross Lava at elevation 2000 at 250 knots.
And then he founded this museum, and he spends the money on all these warbirds and maintaining the warbirds, and really offering
Center,
this service to the public.
Heavy with you at flight level 360.
I think it's really cool. You can tell he's really passionate about it. He loves the aircraft. He restores a lot of aircraft too.
Record 1459, Jack Center, good evening.
He shares all that with the public. So it's cool that somebody created a freeware scenery of Fantasy of Flight.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat?
For FSX.
See a location for American 64.
So I fly out of there quite a bit. I just like to do pattern
About 12 nautical miles from Remus, heading to 20281.
Kermit Weeks is kind of one of my heroes, if you can't tell already. Alright, so we're looking for this body of water and an airport.
Roger.
Once we're abreast of the airport,
Squawk 1006 and ident.
we can make our next turn.
Squawking 1006 and ident.
The Littlefield Tank Collection. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't heard of that one. I don't know too much about tanks, but I'll check that out.
Center, Delta Flight 6221, checking in with you at flight level 380.
So there's the airport, it seems like.
Delta 62.
We'll have to make sure
21, Squawk 1007 ident.
A ways away, so that we're not getting in the way of any traffic.
1007 and ident.
Although I doubt there's anybody out here, but still.
Air Jamaica 014, unfortunately, Miami Center is offline. Radar services are terminated. Frequency change to advisories for you. Have a great flight to Jamaica.
Thank you.
Alright.
Unicom 2 to the flight. Thank you.
178 is our next.
Jamaica 014.
178 is our next waypoint. Sorry, is our next heading.
American 1459, radar contact as described. Welcome aboard.
And now we're looking for more lakes.
Thank you. Good evening.
A series of 3 lakes, kind of like in a chain. And the waypoint is going to be near the middle one, near the middle
And
lake.
Delta 6221, squawk normal, please. Squawk mode Charlie.
Roger, Squawk Charlie, 6221.
Going the wrong way. It's kind of hard to orient yourself with this this style of a compass. I don't know why. It's a bit.
Delta 6221, there you are. Radar contact 5 miles northeast of the Charleston VOR. Welcome aboard.
Just laughing at the enthusiasm with that controller. So Florida is kind of an interesting place for aviation, I guess. I think it's a popular place for like aviation schools because of the weather. I think it stays warm throughout the winter, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just got a ton of little private airfields all over the place in Central Florida. Like in this region that we're flying through, there's going to be at least like 5 that we're going to fly right next to private little fields. I don't know how well they're going to be depicted in the simulator, but they are there.
Delta 6221, cross 35 miles northeast of the Savannah VOR at and maintain 11,000.
So this will be an important This will be an important waypoint to hit because it's the last one before Fantasy of Flight.
Waypoint again, please, for 6221, 11,000.
So we'll have to make sure we're on the right track.
Savannah, 35 miles northeast of the Savannah VOR at and maintain 11,000.
So I'm going to really try to find the heading
miles
properly.
northeast of the Savannah VOR, they send a maintain 11,000. 6221.
It's always fun to fly the Corsair. Really like this aircraft, and I fly the Hellcat as well, but I think this one's a little bit nicer. This one's a little bit better crafted in terms of being an add-on, because the Vertigo Studios Hellcat just has some unrealistic features, and the Corsair is just a little more refined. It is, after all, made by a subsidiary company of A2A. So I'm glad they branched out and made this fighter, because I noticed A2A really likes the Air Force aircraft, like the P-47, the P-40, the P-51. Those are all U.S. Air Force, U.S. Air Corps aircraft, and A2A itself hasn't made a Navy fighter. Well, arguably you can say the T-6 Texan was also a Navy trainer, but it was also an Army trainer as well, an Army Air Corps trainer. All right. Off heading a little bit, off course. It's okay. See if we can see the lakes in the distance. Not yet. Not yet. They should be bigger than this one here. They're going to be big lakes. So I did the Heathrow Relops event, and that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of traffic in Heathrow. I was flying the NGX, as I mentioned earlier, the Boeing 737, and with VATSIM events, I noticed it's better to start early. That way you can get ahead of the traffic a little bit, especially ones that are really popular. Like Heathrow, I think, according to VATSIM UK at least, is the busiest airport on VATSIM. And yeah, so it's good for an event like this to start early. So I tried to get off the blocks just 15 minutes
Blue 1183
after the event began.
Across Lama.
But even then, once I was taxiing to the runway, it was just
2,000
jam-packed with aircraft. I think there were about 8 aircraft waiting to take off from the same runway. So it was interesting waiting and trying. Plus, what made it really difficult was I had old scenery. I had default FSX Heathrow Airport scenery. And so Heathrow has changed a lot. They got rid of a runway. They made taxiways instead of the runway. So like I was trying to taxi with the directions they were giving me, and there were aircraft kind of like all over the place on my scenery. Like they were on the grass, and I was just trying to figure out how to get to my holding point in a semi-logical way without pissing too many people off and without the controllers noticing me, because my scenery was so old. I didn't know how to get to the location that I needed to go, but it worked out in the end. I'm worried I may be too far afield. Oh, what do we have here? You know, I think, yeah, the ones in the distance here. There's that one. There's that first lake. There's number 1, I think. And there should be 2 and 3 behind it. Let me get a little closer to get a better look. Or is that number 1, 2, 3? Huh. It's kind of hard to tell. Because those appear to be lakes in the distance too. Maybe I was just too far away to see them. You know what? I think this is the 3rd lake. So I'm going to make my heading 182 now. I think I just got too far away to see them.
JetBlue 1183, expect visual approach runway 1 at Savannah. Savannah altimeter is...
Yep. You know what? That's one of my takeaways, Adonis, is at the very least get an accurate AFCAD before doing an online
that would be nice,
event.
but we're going to Orlando.
That's a good point. Yeah, and also take another takeaway, another thing I learned was also take extra fuel for taxiing when you're doing an event, because it's going to take up a lot of fuel while you're waiting and for aircraft and while you figure out where you got to go. At least it did for me. It took a lot of extra fuel. Okay, so their last waypoint is going to be Fantasy of Flight itself. So hopefully we won't have too many problems finding that. Should be about 5 minutes on this heading or so. And I am seeing something in the distance, which may be the airport itself. I'm seeing some buildings in the distance over there.
JetBlue 1183, guys.
I don't know if you guys can see them too, but that may be the airport.
Can you give us approach instructions for Savannah?
Negative. JetBlue 1183.
There it is. There's Fantasy of Flight.
Sending into Orlando, correct?
Yay, we found it. I'm pretty excited.
Yes, sir.
That
I
was,
think you said expect runway 1 at Savannah.
That was challenging to navigate by those lakes.
If I did, I apologize.
But sure enough, there's the airport.
Runway 1 at Savannah. Visual approach runway 1.
Oh, okay. So I should check out the division pages for the updated AFCAD files. AFCAD files, I think, just redraw the taxiways and like the main elements of the airport, taxiways, runways, and things like that, to update if there's been any changes to the airport. So I'm just letting people know who may not know what those are. But yeah, I'll check out the division pages for the AFCAD files before I do events. You just saw me on VATSPY. Nice. Yep. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that we've arrived. I'll do a few flyovers there of the airport. I'll take a look at the windsock, where the wind is coming from. I usually like to land from this direction, just right above the highway. Wait, am I? Am I understanding that correctly? I may be misconstruing. Well, in any case, I'll get closer and then I can better figure out what side of the airport that I'm on. And there she is, Fantasy of Flight. You'll see the PBY Catalina. You'll see the constellation that they have there.
Delta 60G21, just maintain.
You're the only one watching? Oh, alright. Sounds good.
You said maintain
Well,
4.
I may put up this video on...
21.
That's a fair point, but I may put up this video on YouTube at some point as well. But yeah, I don't stream as often anymore. I stream very rarely, so I've lost some of my viewership, unfortunately. But that's okay. It's all about having fun for me anyway. There's the constellation right there. There's the PBY Catalina. And this is the airstrip I like to land on from this side. And there's Fantasy of Flight. Let's make a couple more passes just to see the scenery. Oh, we've got another viewer. Welcome, Browncoat. Yeah, it is a beautiful model. I do like it. It's kind of a close call in terms of looks between the Aeroplane Heaven Corsair that just came out and the Aircraft Factory, but I still think I prefer the Aircraft Factory in terms of looks. And in terms of flight model and stuff, I think the Aircraft Factory is definitely the better one from the review that I've seen. Alright, let's do one more pass here over Fantasy of Flight. You can see the water tower right there.
Delta 60G21, turn left heading 180.
Turn left heading 180, 6221.
And the windsock is wind's coming from this direction over here. So let's land into the wind, on my favorite side of the runway. So landing the Corsair on this runway is going to be tricky. It's a grass strip. It's not too wide, and should be challenging. Let's see how we can do. Yeah, I think I added a few add-ons to this. I think I may have updated the flight model with this one. I don't remember. Actually, I think I'm pretty sure that I updated the flight model. I updated the cockpit with darker textures, and it also added this little photo here. And I did an add-on sound pack for the Corsair as well. So I did add a few things, and this isn't the stock version. I should probably put on my channel page all the changes that I made.
Delta 60G21, descend, maintain 2000.
To the Corsair, so you guys can find them. Although if you check out my first video on YouTube with the Corsair, I do have all the changes that I made listed. Let's go gear down so that we can
turn left, heading
use them as dive brakes to slow down here.
Did you say turn left heading 180?
Correct, I currently show you at 190. Can you stay your
It's got a really big nose, so it's challenging to see the runway.
Right now we're at 179.
Let's open up the canopy.
Alright, no worries. It's just a discrepancy between you and me. Continue your present heading.
Roger. 6221.
Yep, the photo is a nice touch, I agree. So let's go flaps full down. Gotta make sure not to get too slow. Make sure not to hit those wires as well. There's a DC3 right here. As a display. There's also another one with its nose in the ground, closer to the airport. I think that caused a bit of controversy with DC3 fans. Oof, rough landing. That wasn't the best landing, but it got the job done. Alright, here we are. We made it. Yes. Landed at 8:18. Here's a Stearman. I think a Navy variant of the Stearman. Let's unlock our tail wheel so we can actually taxi. There's the Catalina. And this is freeware scenery that's available, so if you guys like this, be sure to check it out. And check out Kermit Week's YouTube channel as well. Some really nice flight videos. Alright. That's the last time I'll mention those channels, because as you can tell, I'm a big fan, but I don't want to annoy you guys too much with that. Alright, let's set our parking brake. Let's open up all of our auxiliary flaps. Those guys are open. Prop, low RPM. Throttle, 800 to 900. Fuel pump should have been on for landing, but it's okay. Let's cut off our mixture. Ignition is going to be
6221, turn right heading
set to off.
010, pulse discretion.
Let's fold up the wings.
Turn right heading 010, pilot's discretion 6221.
How does the Aeroplane Heaven Corsair compare? I actually don't have the Aeroplane Heaven Corsair, but I've seen a really nice review. If you check out a guy by the name of Wells Sullivan on YouTube, he's got a really nice review of the Corsair, and he just points out a lot of the drawbacks, like a lot of the inaccuracies in the flight model that they easily could have corrected, but they didn't. Like speeds that don't match up to the manual, performance figures that don't match up to the manual, and like certain parts of the cockpit are missing, like a generator switch. There's no generator switch. So things like that, I'd recommend, if you're interested, check out that review by Wells Sullivan.
Free to send and maintain 900,000. And 900,000, jet to 1183.
Okay, let's lock the wings in place. Pitot heat can come off. Battery can come off. And let's see, generator, avionics off, lights can come off. Should have turned those off before the battery, but that's okay. Alright, I think we are done. Alright, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this flight. Let's take another look here outside our parked Corsair. Welcome to Fantasy of Flight. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And I'll do a replay of the terrible landing that I did. But hopefully you guys had fun, and hope to see you guys again. And signing off now. Catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.